Okay.
All right, guys, fire away.
Hey,
Hey,
sorry,
Ryan.
sorry I was late, guys. I had to dry off and try to take care of myself a little bit, so I apologize.
Well, I hope you're feeling all right.
So far, so good.
Okay, good. You're a big book reader, and you've talked about that in the past. I'm curious what books you've kind of turned to this summer and why.
Um, I'm reading a Winston Churchill book right now called "The Splendid and the Vile," and it's really about hunkering down for the long haul, and so there's a lot of good messages in it about preparation and preparing and understanding that things aren't going to be easy; they're going to be hard. But being able to get everybody to rally. So I've found some solace in reading a book like that. I am reading one, and I've mentioned it before. It's called The Real All Americans, and it's about the Carlisle Indian School football team. It's a heck of a book.
Why did you choose those?
That book, honestly, I chose the book initially to read up on the American Indian, on the history of it, and so the book it's been solid. I think it's a heck of a book. It really is. I know Sally Jenkins wrote it, and she did a terrific job. I've actually texted her a couple of times about her motivation on writing the book, and she's been great about it. So it's just an enjoyable book. I'm learning a lot, like I said, for personal reasons, that book has been interesting.
Thank you.
Hey Ron, I was just kind of curious when it comes to home openers. I've obviously looked at what you all did in Carolina, and I saw you're 4-5. But really, in that, I saw that your team's never lost by more than a touchdown in those games. It was a very
Yep.
close affair. I guess I'm kind of wondering, just in your experience with those 9 games, what makes for the difference of winning in a home opener versus having those very close losses in a home opener?
Making plays. That's the truth of the matter. There's a couple of games that come to mind right off the bat that we had a chance to really kind of set things right and go in the right direction. And probably our biggest nemesis was Seattle. Whether we played them in the home opener or we just played them, period, that game was always a touchdown or less. And we had an opportunity to make a big play at the end of the game, and instead we fumbled it. We had a chance to win. I go back to that one. It's just something that you always think about because you have a rival that you've got to be able to beat. But you do find solace in playing well. It's not gratifying to lose, obviously, but as a football team, at least you can say, hey, we know where we are, we're progressing. I like this as the home opener because these guys are the gold standard in our division. They won it last year, got in the playoffs, so this will be a good measuring stick as to where we are as a football team.
What would you say that you've learned from your players or former members of the staff with Randy Jordan or Nate Katz, or what would you say that you've learned about facing NFC East opponents from them, or any conversations you've had just about this particular group of division opponents?
Well, it's interesting because Rhea, I started my positional coaching with Andy Reid in Philadelphia, and got a great sense of what those rivalries are about. And then as the years have gone, playing against teams from the NFC East that has always kind of it's a different division, and I think it's a more traditional division than a lot of them. And so I think it's kind of cool that you play these teams. That there's a lot of rivalry to it. And so to me, if you can win your division, especially this one, and Philadelphia has shown it, you get a chance to go to playoffs.
Thank you, Ron.
All righty.
Ron, I know you said after the Jacob Lake shooting and after the team held its group meetings that it was important to you guys to kind of keep the conversation going. Do you guys have any formalized plans during the national anthem or otherwise to kind of keep that conversation going on game days?
We will. I literally just had a meeting with our team captains, and we're going to have that discussion tomorrow. And the biggest thing that I just said to them, I said that this has to be about respecting each other's choice of what to do. I think that's the most important thing. It's funny because people say, "Oh, well, you should all kneel together, or you shouldn't kneel, because it doesn't show team unity." Well, I think that's wrong. I think if half your team kneels and half your team stands, and everybody respects that, that's team unity. That to me really is, because I am mature enough to respect your right as an American and First Amendment to kneel. And please respect my right to stand. And I think that's the important thing. That's the thing I think we've got to get out, is that some people have this thought that this is what you should do, and other people have this thought what you should do. Well, guess what? The world's about compromise and about respect. And if you don't respect the person's right then you're not respecting the First Amendment. And that's the way I approach it.
And when you meet with the team captains, do they meet with the rest of the team, or how does it work on kind of deciding
Yes,
there?
they will. They'll get together and, they'll have an opportunity to express themselves and decide what they want to do as a team. But the biggest thing to me is, again, is no matter what's decided, it has to be decided as a team, fairly.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, given that nothing about this season compares to any other season in NFL history, how do you begin to judge what a successful season will look like?
That's a good question. I mean, I came out initially thinking if we were able to go through everything and see where we are, then you could make a real good, I don't know, I don't want to say prediction, but have a good feel for it. The one thing I want to make sure, though, is that we play the right way. We play hard, we play fast, we play physical, we play downhill, we attack. Those are the things I'm looking for. I mean, I'm sincere when I say, we got to give our fans something to cheer about. First, it's got to be good quality football, and then it's got to be about winning. And that's what I want to see. I want to see us winning football games, but also, first and foremost, we got to play good football. That's the thing that we have to do. And so as I look at the guys that we have, I think we have a lot of good football players. Now it's a matter of getting the right group on the field and have them go out and play the right way, and then the winning will take care of itself. It's interesting because my first stint at it was if you go back and look at my record, I think it was 3-13 in games decided by 6 points or 7 points and less, and that was because we didn't know how to win, we didn't know how to finish. And I think we were afraid to put it out there. I was. I mean, shoot, I if I go back and look at it, there were a number of opportunities that instead of kicking a field goal, I'd gone for it on fourth down and converted. We'd have taken the knee and won the games. So it's about understanding and knowing what we've had to do. And I learned from those 2 years of really just gut-wrenching losses. And knowing that going forward, this is what I was going to do, and that's kind of where the whole nickname Riverboat Ron came from.
So, in along those lines with that 3-13 for this first year, what would be more important for you, the 3 or the 13? You know what I mean? Because if you're in a lot of close games, that means you have a chance to win those games more so than whether you actually win those games. Right. If that makes any sense.
Right, but I'm not going to put a number out there. These guys have enough pressure on them. They don't need to have a number on them. What they need to know is they need to have to go out and play hard, play fast, and physical. They do their jobs, do things the right way. Believe me, winning will take care of itself. But to put a number out there and try and hold everybody to it, no, I'm not going to write a check that they have to cash.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, you talked the other day just about finally being excited that game week is here. What is it when you do step in the stadium, and obviously it's a new stadium, that you maybe is the first thing or that you're looking forward to the most, be it just walking onto the field, waving to your wife? What are some of those things that you're going to go, game day's finally here, and I'm excited to do those things?
Well, it'll start, when I get up and go downstairs and have pregame meal, and kind of watch the guys filter in. And then, getting onto to walk into the locker room for the first time, looking at my gear, all those thoughts will rush in. But when I finally walk out onto the field, it'll be cool. It really will, because then I'll know it's for real. It's time, and let's go. And I'll be excited. I really will. I look forward to it. This it's. I was talking to one of my best friends from college, and we were talking about it. He said, "What are you looking forward to?" I said, "Playing football, just playing football."
Thank you.
Hey, Ron. Kind of following up on what DA asked, just how can you tell when your team knows how to win? Like, obviously the scoreboard reflects that, but are there certain qualities that change in a team or anything that,
There's a specific confident look about them. There's a certain desire. It's you'll know it as a coach. It'll hit you. When I was in Carolina, it was when they came to me and said, "Hey, let's go for this. We got this." When they wanted it, when they wanted the ball in their hands, when they asked for it, that's when you know. That's when you know they're ready for it. Because for a while it was easy for me to make those decisions and for them to go along with it. But then all of a sudden, Cam Newton came to me, Ryan Khalil, Jordan Gross, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan, veteran guys like that came up and said, "Hey, Coach, put it in our hands, man. We won't let you down." That's when you knew they had the confidence to go out and do it. I don't know when these guys will have it, but I do know they want it, and so we'll see how it rolls.
And just a procedural thing. You guys signed a kicker on the practice squad. Is that just to have backup for Dustin Hopkins in case anything?
For Dustin and for Tress. He was up in Canada where he had to do both the punting and kicking. So and that's what most teams are doing right now. You're trying to find that one guy just in case you lose both your guys.
Hey, Ron. With the team, we've heard some athletes around different sports say that the lack of crowd has kind of impacted their energy or their focus level. Is that something that's on your mind at all? And have you had any discussions with your players about staying up even without all the pageantry of a normal game day?
No, we haven't. We just went into the stadium, practiced it. They got a chance to hear the music. The noise. We're gonna probably add a little bit of music there as well. But the biggest thing they'll have to do is just understand how to focus without that crowd, how to rise themselves up without that crowd, and that's going to be our job on the sidelines too as coaches. We're going to have to get these guys riled up, get them going, and just understand that that's just the way it is.
And then just another housekeeping thing: was the captains, is that voted on by the players? Do the coaches have any input? How do you handle that?
Only by the players, and we will pick one extra captain each week as an honorary captain.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Ron, Scott Abraham, ABC7. With no preseason games, do you think your team is ready for Sunday for real NFL game action? And if so, what have you seen that makes you believe that they are ready?
Well, the other thing I can tell you, Scott, is no matter what happens, they're ready to play. How well we play, we'll find out. What's made me believe that they're ready to play is the way they've practiced. They've had some really good up-tempo practices, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for them to try to practice as close to game as possible. We've had a number of those that I've been pleased with. So going forward, I think we're pretty doggone close, but we won't know till we play on Sunday. And so we'll show up, we'll go through the kickoff, and we'll see what happens.
Two more.
Hey, Ron, speaking of the captains, Dwayne said that was a big priority for him in the offseason. What does it mean to you as somebody that challenged him as a leader to get voted in by his colleagues?
I think that was cool. I really do, because it just showed that everybody noticed, not just me or the other coaches or you guys or some of his teammates. They all noticed. They all noticed that he was right there. I mean, that he's doing the things that he said he would do, things that he and I talked about. That's great. That's great to see. It really was. And it was a thing that there's a lot of gratification when you see a young man succeed and do things the right way. Now he's got to go out and put that performance on the football field and see what happens.
Hey, Ron, we talked to Kevin Pierre-Louis yesterday, and he was saying when he came into the league, he didn't see a lot of linebackers his size. I wonder if, as the game has become, more speed, more space, if you think the game has almost evolved to accentuate kind of his skill set.
Yeah, it has. But, remember one thing about football. Football's cyclical. We had an era where everybody wanted to get these small receivers out and run them all over the place. Here they had the fun bunch. Houston, back in the day, the Oilers had their small crew of guys. Buffalo had, and so there was this push to get these smaller guys. Then what happened was people got these quick, big corners, and they basically started eliminating all these smaller receivers. So now you start seeing the bigger guys come back into the game. It's a cyclical thing. This may last 10, 15 years, 5 years, who knows? But there was an offense called the run and shoot that people tried to get into at one point in time too. So, the game kind of goes with the wind. Whichever way the wind's blowing. Somebody's gonna adapt, change, and try something new. This is a league of beg, borrow, and steal. I mean, we watch tape from what our opponents do. We watch what people are successful with, and we try to incorporate it into what we do. And that's just the nature of the game.
Hey, Ron, one quick thing I was wondering, after you've kind of gone through this whole summer with a lot of unique, once-in-a-lifetime kind of things, does it feel like this is just a typical end of a training camp in the summer, or is this sort of like you feel like you've endured something?
This doesn't feel typical. I can tell you that much. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, I mean, that's the only thing I can say about it. It's just we've dealt with it, we've coped with it, we're doing the best we can, we're making the best of our circumstances, and we're going forward. We're not going to quit. We're going to show up every day. We're going to work hard. We're going to do things that we're supposed to, and we're going to go forward. But by no means is this typical.